Hello. How's it going? Okay, the first check I want to do really quickly is just make sure you guys can hear my audio. Can you guys just let me know in the comment section that you can hear me? Hello. How's it going? Welcome to the live. Hello, hello, hello. Hey y'all, how's it going? All right, okay, so just let me know you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. Because I'm using my microphone. This is my little mic that I have set up, but I can't hear at all. So I was like, let me make sure. So, okay, one sec. I'm just going to double check something real quick. I was having so many issues. Oh my goodness. I am, here we go. Okay. My bad, you guys. So I am actually on my husband's laptop. So my main computer is messing up. I downloaded the new software so that I can be like up on the latest version of Safari, but it is really, really, really bad. So I've been sitting here and it's been spinning for the last 30 minutes, whatever I first said I was going to go online. So it was kind of frustrating. Uh-oh, I don't think I have the power cord. Brian? Babe. Sorry to yell in you guys' ear. Brian! Brian! Oh my God, y'all. This man is not listening. Okay, while I get Brian really quickly, drop your star in the comment section. And we're going to get started here in just a second. Yeah, can I have your power cord? Sorry, this thing is almost dead. And I don't want it to die while I'm on live. Okay. All right, you guys. So with that being said, I have a bunch of topics that I got from Instagram. I took screenshots of everything the other day. I did a question or Q&A on Instagram the other day in the stories and basically had asked you guys for some questions for the next coffee chat. I'm actually not drinking coffee today though. I'm drinking a little bit of wine. This is my favorite wine. This is the Blanc, which is the red wine, and I love it. It's so good. So with that being said, I have a bunch of questions that we're going to jump right into because I think this is like so much fun. Okay. So the first question I got, this is actually an easy question. It says, any vacation plans, any next big plans for your life/career? As of right now, we do not have any vacation plans. So this is probably pretty easy. We don't have anything scheduled. This weekend is like Brian's first weekend being off of work, which is really rare. So we were going to try to do something, and then unfortunately it didn't really work out. So we're just about to be chilling. It's going to be like a staycation, and I'm hoping to record a bunch of vlog content. So I hope you guys like the vlog content. If not, I guess just skip past it. So that was the first one. The next question, this is actually what I titled the video. I thought this was a really good question. And the question was around, has our relationship changed since we got married? And this is a really great question because a lot of times in relationships, it can change. It can be, really great before you get married, and then you get married and everything is like totally different. And I honestly can say, and maybe it's because of the type of wedding we did, I'm not sure, but I don't really think anything has changed. A lot of times I forget we're even married because we've acted like we were married before we got married, and then we got married. It was like the same deal. Thank you so much, my love. I appreciate you. Sorry, it was messing up on the computer. You see it's still like tweaking. But yeah. So anywho, I'm going to plug this up real quickly. So my apologies while I do this, but I do not want this to die mid-conversation. Oh, you can let Lola out if you want. She's probably been in there long enough. Lola has been having issues, you guys, lately. Like, almost knocked my drink over. If she goes and drinks too much water too fast or eats her food too fast, she will throw up. So it's been bad. So we just put her in the cage so she can kind of chill out for a minute. I think she just gets hyper or something. Like, it's really weird. Okay, I'm going to bend down for 2 seconds and plug this in. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. So, can you guys see me okay? Is it like buffering or is it acting weird? Hopefully the video is acting okay. But, okay, so I have a lot of questions. I'm just going to keep going. If you guys have any questions, comment below in the comment section and let me know if y'all have any additional questions. But the next question is, what are the exact steps I took after getting my MBA to reach 6 figures in corporate? Honestly, when I got my MBA, I was really close to 6 figures coming right out. So it didn't take much. I think this question is kind of a softball question just because going to the school that I went to, most people coming out were either just under 6 figures or a lot of people were actually over 6 figures. So it wasn't that challenging just because of that. But I will say in preparing for looking for a job, I definitely had to be very smart about what I asked for, what I felt like I was qualified for, my logic behind it. I did a lot of research so that when I got to the point of negotiating, I was able to pretty much tell them what I wanted and why. And I think that's important, especially because a lot of times companies are going to lowball you. Their job is to get the best candidate at the least expensive price. And your job is to get the best job at the best price or the best salary. So this was another question I got was around negotiating pay. And I do get this question a lot as well on the side. Like, people do email me sometimes on my Contact Kristen Alexis email. And this is probably one of my number one questions that I get. So just to kind of, I guess, go into a little more detail on negotiating pay. Again, I think the biggest thing is research, understanding what people in your industry with your experience typically get. And then when people ask you or they tell you what they're going to offer you, you just can say, like, let's say they offer you, let's say $75,000 a year. You can say, well, I actually was more prepared for an offer of $80,000. And the reason for that is in this industry, typically you see people, Dre, you are so sweet. Thank you. That was really nice of you. Aw. But yeah, I would really say, he done made me lose my train of thought. That was so nice of you. Thank you, Dre. But yeah, like, honestly, I would say definitely prepare and, like, give the logics, so you could say, I typically have seen that people usually come out making $80,000 to $85,000. So I was more prepared for an offer of $80,000. Also, my experience, I have my MBA or I have this or I have that, and just kind of like list off the things that you have. And then you can talk about the gap that you have from the role that you're currently in versus where you'd be going to. So the biggest thing is, like, have your bullet points ready to go. Have them, like, planned out. That way when something happens, can you guys still hear me? Hold up. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. I think my cord had kind of came out. But yeah, you just want to have your bullet points so you can, like, lean on those and be able to have a case for it, because that's in my opinion the biggest thing. So we're going to transition into, I got a question. It says, is it grilled cheese or cheesy toast? And it's grilled cheese, duh. That's the easy one. The next question is, where can a man find a woman like you? How did you and your husband meet? Where can a man find a woman like me? Nowhere, because there's no one else like me out there. Like, when are you going to meet a corporate girl who is still, like, free-spirited and not constrained by feeling like they have to conform to the whole corporate mindset? So, there's no other Kristen Alexis out here. But if you want to meet someone who's similar, very similar, I'm just playing, y'all. Y'all know I'm just being silly. But, okay, back to the answer, the question is, I just think, like, being open, going places, being social, meeting people. I'm pretty social when I go out. So before I knew my husband, I would be out and I'd be meeting people and talking and making conversation and just, being social, networking, going to events that you think people who you'd be interested in will go to. So mixers, corporate events, career fair. Well, I don't know if you don't need a job, don't go to the career fair, but there's usually events where like around career fairs, big ones too. You know what I mean? Think about like some of the big stuff like Nashimba, National Black, stuff like that. Okay, good. You can hear me, Dre. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, like, just be creative. Think outside the box. Like, where are people like what you want going to be? You know what I mean? People like me, we still go to the club, but just not that often, but we do every once in a while. So, just think about things like that. Okay, so with that, let's answer some more questions. It says, when you and your significant other are going through something, what do you do to keep your sanity? Well, that's a good one. I talk. I like to talk. I'm not somebody where I like to sit on beef. So I typically will confront stuff head on and just try to get to the bottom of it, because I also believe, like the Bible says, you shouldn't go to sleep angry or upset with each other. And I personally, I don't know, I kind of live by that. Like, I just want to talk about it, get after it. And Brian may not be so much like that. He probably is more like, let me process, let me think. And then after I've like processed and I come up with the best solution, then we can talk. But me, I think it's important to talk when you're not angry or upset. You know what I mean? Like, make sure you're in a good mindset. Just like I think you shouldn't discipline your kids when you're really upset. But, just like have your mindset correct and talk it through, because you just really don't want to beef with each other. You know what I mean? So if you come in with the mindset that you don't want any drama, you just want to get through it, work through it, talk through it, then it should be okay. Everything should work out. But the next question I have is, how to merge or not to merge your finances when you get married? This is a good question too. Okay, these were some good questions. Now, the merging of the finances can be very tricky, but this is what I've always done, and I suggested this idea to Brian and he was with it. So basically, I believe that you should do it based on your income, and you should do a weighted percentage contribution of your income to your bills. So when you first set this up, it's kind of complicated, but once you get the ball rolling, it's actually pretty easy. So we're just going to use an analogy. Let's say you have two people, right? One person makes $2,000 a month. One person makes $1,000 a month. Doesn't matter if it's male, female. We're just going to say one person A, person B. So person A makes $2,000, person B makes $1,000. Your bills are, let's just say $1,500, okay? The bills are $1,500. So person A salary is a 2-to-1 to person B. The budget is $1,500. So if you just said 2-to-1, that's $1,000 and then $500. So person A would pay $1,000 of the bills, and person B would pay $500. That way, it's an equal contribution. It has the same amount of pain for both people, and you both are contributing. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. That is really sweet of you. Thank you. But yeah, so you really, like, in my opinion, you want it to be weighted based on your income, based on the percentage of the budget that person contributes, so that it's fair, it's even, it's almost like 50-50, but you're taking into account what each person contributes from a percentage basis. So that's how I like to do it. Once you figure out the number that each person is going to contribute, I like to have a separate account where I have my own account for the money I have left. Brian has his own account for the money he has left. And then we have a family account that we pay all of the household bills out of, as well as any extra money that's left over. And then we use that for like savings or trips or stuff like that. Food, going out, hanging out, everything comes out the joint account, and we both have a card to the joint account, and we only spend out that account for family stuff, right? And when you do it like this, then you don't have to talk about, like, if I want to buy this outfit, I don't need to run that by Brian. If he wants to buy these shoes, he don't need to run that by me. Just don't use the family account to do it. So this is like what works for me, and I think it's the best solution because both people are doing an even contribution from a percentage perspective, and y'all just work it out like that, and then you don't have to worry about running stuff by each other when you want to spend a little bit of money. So that's that question. What advice would I give to someone who is out newly in the dating scene? Ooh, this is the fun one. So y'all, I was married for most of my life before I became single for like the first time. I got married at 18 and I got divorced at 30. So basically more than half my life I was married. And then when I finally became single, I was like new to it. I was fresh out. I didn't know anything about it. So I was really, really nervous, really intimidated about it. And it was just like overwhelming. It was crazy. Like I didn't know what to do, okay? But at the same time, I will say I was a little excited because I'm like, okay, I'm about to meet these dudes. Like they not gonna know what to do with me. And I will say I was naive, okay? I was very naive. I got taken advantage of a few times, which that just comes, you live and you learn. And I think because I really hadn't experienced that many different people, different personality styles, that I kind of got like I got my feelings hurt. But I think at the end of the day, the best advice I could tell someone who is newly dating, fresh out, fresh on the dating scene, is to be open. Don't be closed off. Don't come in with your baggage from your previous situation. You got to come in fresh mind. You got to be open to meeting somebody. You can't judge them based on the past and think that like they're going to do what your ex did, because like Brian is nothing like my ex, and he would never do some of the things that my ex did, or we would never beef about some of the stuff me and my ex did. So to judge him based on that would be totally unfair. So I think you just got to be fun. You got to live your life to the fullest. You got to live your life unapologetically, because, you know, you only get one life, and you got to just go out there and have fun. And maybe it's like that Dr. Seuss quote where he says, don't be mad it's over, be happy it happened. So even if you jump into something and it doesn't work out, just like take it as a fun experience, and it might hurt a little bit, but hey, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get some scratches on your knees, you're gonna get some boo-boos, and you just gotta wipe it off, put a band-aid on, and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So I say you just do it. You jump. Don't be scared. You know what I mean? Oh, y'all, while we're in here, since we dropping gems and all this great conversation, and I'm giving y'all, some good advice, be sure to hit the thumbs up button while we're in here. And while you guys do that, let me look up the next question. Okay, hold on. I gotta keep swiping. Okay, so it says, can you share your school debt, MBA, and how I'm going to get out of it? Ooh, this is a tough one. Okay. Y'all, so I do have a lot of school debt. It's a lot. Right now, I owe, it's like $80,000. I think I owe $80,000 right now. Because my undergrad is like, it's probably like 75. Because my undergrad, I think, is like 25. And my MBA, I owe like 50. So the two of those together, that's like 75,000. And I don't really worry about it because I pay it like a car. So my payment is like $700 a month. And I'm not going to pay it for 20 years like they want you to. But right now, I'm not really getting after it as much because I've been focused on my consumer debt. I do have consumer debt. I do want to pay my car off. I've actually been thinking about getting out of this car and getting something cheaper until I pay off all my consumer debt, and then finally making a new purchase and just getting what I want. Because my car is about to hit 100,000 miles, and I really don't want to have this Lexus after 100,000 miles. For some of you guys who've been with me for a while, like a year or so ago, I think it's been like 2 years now, I got in a really bad car accident with my Lexus truck, and I had to have the transmission replaced. So I just don't want to take the risk post 100,000 miles that my transmission goes out or something crazy happens. So I think I'm going to get out of it, pay off this debt that I have over my head, and then finally at that point I'm going to get me something real nice, a G-Wagon or something, because I've been paying all that money for that student debt. I'll be able to afford something crazy. So yeah, I have a lot of debt, but it feels manageable to me because I guess with my income, it doesn't feel overwhelming, but it is a lot. Like, it's like a really, really, really nice car. So with that being said, let me see. How do I stay grounded with everything going on? Man, that's a tough one. Honestly, I think I stay grounded because, one, of my husband. He is very, like, level-headed and neutral. Like, he's not a personality where he has, like, ups and downs, highs and lows. He's just neutral, like, all the time. I didn't used to be like that. So when I talk to him, he's very good at, like, putting things into perspective. He also was someone who helped me kind of check some things in that I was dealing with and had dealt with. So that also helps me. And then I think I keep really big goals. So the goals I set for myself are really big, really crazy, and I feel like having the goals that I have, and like no matter what I do, no matter what I accomplish, I never feel like I'm done. I never feel like it's brag worthy. Like, I always just don't feel like I'm doing enough. So I think that in itself helps me stay grounded, if that makes sense. And I also think that anything you have can be taken away and can be gone like that. So you'll never see me be boastful about anything because I just don't believe that that is, I don't know. I think that's like silly because you can lose anything. As fast as you got anything you have, you can lose it. You know what I mean? So the good thing is I do think there's some things I've received in my life that no one can ever take from me, which is like the knowledge I've learned and the things I learned from having my MBA, the things I learned from working my job. Those are things that I do think would help me have like a value to where if I did lose my job or I did lose something, I'd be able to bounce back really easily. But at the same time, I think that keeps me humble because I've seen people go from being on the top to being on the bottom really quickly. And or you could get sick, you could get in an accident and be crippled and can't take care. I mean, you just never know. So I just think those type of things keep me grounded. I also lost my dad. And I never had the opportunity to meet my dad. I think I shared this in one of my recent videos if you haven't seen it. I think it was the one where I was like sitting on the bed. It was at the end of that video. I talked about my dad. And my dad passed away really young. I actually thought he was my age, but I asked my mom and I was like, Mom, was my dad my age? And she's like, no, girl, he was 48. So my dad was older than me, but I thought he was my age because it just, at the time when I was little, it felt like he was, like it was, similar to where I am in my life right now. But I say that to say, like, losing someone and knowing he was as young as he was just made me put things into perspective that you just never know. And he didn't have a lot of time. Like, he didn't have months or years when he found out he was going to pass and that he was terminal. So that also keeps me pretty humble too. But with that, let's look at the next question. How do you find your purpose, passion in terms of your career? Honestly, I think it comes from trying a lot of different things and playing around with things to see what makes you happy. I know I love YouTube. I love YouTube from a creative perspective, and I love how it makes me feel. I love how it feels to talk to you guys. For me, it's not really as much about like the views or any of that stuff. So the YouTube thing does make me feel really fulfilled, and I like how I feel when I'm doing YouTube and when I'm talking about YouTube to other people who are wanting to get into it. I love how I feel when I'm mentoring people and I'm helping people with questions they have about their career. So to me, that helps me feel like I know I'm in my where I'm supposed to be in terms of my career. From a like professional corporate perspective, I will say that part, I haven't really gotten to that point where I feel the way that I feel when I do YouTube. But at the same time, I know when I do my job, I'm very confident. So there's a different type of confidence that I have with my real job versus this. And that in itself makes me feel like I know I found a sweet spot in terms of like what I'm doing with my job. But I think you found your purpose or your like purpose in terms of your career when you get that excitement about what you're doing, when the thought of like doing your job gets you up out the bed. Like when I know like on the weekend I want to do YouTube and I have a couple videos I want to work on, it makes me excited. It makes me want to get up and like go start working on it, on my videos or whatever content I have that I'm thinking about. It makes me want to like brainstorm and come up with ideas. It makes me excited to talk to my friends like Dre, because I'm always talking to him and getting great ideas from the conversation. So I think that's when you found your purpose, is when you feel excited about what you're doing. You know what I mean? And you get this excitement that makes you get on your feet and go do something versus just sitting there and being bored in it and being passive about it. But a lot of times in our jobs and our careers, it's challenging to find that moment. And I do feel like in my real life, in my real job, I don't really think I'm quite there. But I do think at some point, what I'm doing with YouTube and my career are going to merge. And I'm waiting for that moment, and I'm waiting for that thing that I find that is just like the aha, that what I've learned with doing YouTube is going to manifest in the purpose, the perfect purpose for me in my life. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about, like in terms of my personal life and, sharing a little bit with you guys. But I see there's a question that says, does Brian have any brothers? Yes, Brian has 2 brothers. They look just like him too. So they're both single. So if you're interested, let me know. I can hook you up, connect you with their Instagrams. They're single and ready to mingle. And they're just like Brian. So yeah, they all are kind of very similar. He's probably the most, I don't want to call Brian quiet, but he's just not as extra. He's more introverted than the others. So with that, let's look at some of these other questions. Have I ever had issues with maintaining a healthy weight? No, I really haven't. I actually was typically pretty skinny growing up. It's been up until recent that I've gained a lot of weight. And I say a lot, like to me it's a lot because I'm probably up from when I had my oldest son, I'm up like 40 pounds. So I'm a lot heavier than I was when I had Arius. But I wouldn't say I've had issues with maintaining my weight. I've more so been around the same weight most of my life, with the exception of like this little bit of growth I've had over this last couple of years. The next question is, how do I manage my time and to get so much accomplished with YouTube, work, and family? I think the biggest thing is I don't really waste time doing things that are not value add. And I was actually talking to my friend about this the other day, and I was just telling her, like, even when I'm hanging with my family, it's intentional. Even when I'm kicking it with Brian, it's intentional. Like, everything I do right now is intentional. I really don't sit around just chilling and watching things or watching TV. I do watch YouTube. So I have YouTubers that I watch that I love their content and I love to watch, and it's so much fun. But other than that, I don't really sit around, like just sit around. You won't find me like if you came in my house and you were like looking for me, you're typically going to find me doing something. So, and when I say doing something, I mean doing something productive. Either like I was actually earlier, I have my work computer right here. I was just doing some stuff for my job. I've been here editing thumbnails for YouTube. I have a couple videos already loaded for the next couple of days. So that's kind of what I feel like how I get so much accomplished is I just don't have a lot of like dead time. And in my time that I would have done like just sitting around, I'm typically working on something. But at the same time, I feel like I don't have enough hours in a day. Like right now I have a basket of laundry I need to get after tonight. So I'm going to put that laundry in, but I'm pretty like succinct with what I do to get it all done, if that makes sense. So, question was, do I plan on having any more children? No. Nope. There was 1 month though, I was like, Brian, this might be the month where like I said, either we about to have a baby or we not. So we just have to wait and see. And it was a no-go. So I said, okay, we ain't never gonna make that mistake again. So no more kids for us. Really quick, I just want to look at these comments and just see. Do I have any sisters? I do actually. I have a little sister named Brittany, and I have an older sister named Regina. My older sister, Regina, she is a lawyer. So she's actually now like, I think she's like a VP or something. I don't remember her title, but she's like the some VP of whatever the legal VP is called. That's what she does. And she works for oil company. And then my little sister, she lives in Houston and she's way younger than me. So her name is Brittany. And I have not met Brittany before. So I hope I'll get to meet Brittany one day. But yeah, that's my story. How do you reach me? Email. Email is the best way to reach me. My email is usually, it's not in this video. I don't think it's in the description box of this video, but all my videos have my email with other than my lives, and you can email me there. It's contactkristenalexis@gmail.com. I did actually get an email, so I'm going to answer the questions from that email in this video too, because I have not been able to reply back. So if you email me, just give me a couple days, because sometimes it takes me a little bit just because I am always on the move, other than when I'm in the car and then I can't read or write, obviously. So with that, I have a couple more questions I want to answer. Do I ever regret starting YouTube? I know people can be cruel at times. No. People, when they talk to me crazy on YouTube, really don't affect me. I just block them or hide them from my channel, and they never will be visible again. YouTube doesn't allow you to like block people where people cannot see your content. So some people are blocked and they probably do not even know it. but I just hide people. Like, I feel like if for a second when I see a comment, if it makes me feel away, I just hide it, because I'm not going to allow someone to make me feel away. You know what I mean? Like, you can't allow people to affect you. And I think you have to get like that in your real life too. Like, if people in your real life make you feel like angst, you know what I mean? Are you familiar with that word, angst? If people make you feel that, you have to block them. And it may not be like physically, but you have to just stop acknowledging their existence so that you can preserve your peace. So YouTube doesn't really bother me from that perspective. Like, when people come at me, I think if I was a bigger YouTuber and I had like the whole world coming at me, that could be different. So I think I don't envy people who are like that. And I really don't aspire to be a big YouTuber for that reason, because sometimes I want to clap back and I have to really hold back from doing that, because sometimes I do have a smart mouth and I have to be careful. I don't really show y'all my smart side because I can't get smart. You know, I be teasing at work. Like, people come for me at work, and you know how you have those coworkers that'll say something smart to you, and I be teasing my friend PJ. I'm like, PJ, they have to understand, I might talk like this, but I grew up right next to the ghetto. So I know, like, it was people who would come at me, and they would come at me and be ready to come for me, you know, and they weren't all nicey nice. Like, when I lived in the like suburbs and everyone was nice and they didn't really pick on you and do crazy stuff. Like, no, we live right there. So I was used to people bullying on me and picking on me, or just the environment being a little different at times. And like, my snap back. Sometimes I be like, oh Lord, please don't let me. So let me keep moving on, because that's kind of funny, I guess. Okay, we already talked about the finances thing. Finances when dating, though, this one is a little bit different, I guess. When me and Brian dated, honestly, I have this thing where I don't like people to do things for me. So if there were times where I felt like he was contributing too much, I didn't like that. I don't like that. And I have never been a girl where I let a man do too much for me. And maybe that's a bad characteristic, but I think that came out of my first marriage, where there were times where he would make comments like what he did for me, or I'm only where I'm at because of him. Just stuff like that. And I'd be like, was you, like, you remember when Kobe said you wasn't with me shooting in the gym? That's how I felt. Like, were you with me studying for the GMAT, or were you with me when I was doing all the things I had to do to get ready for these accomplishments? Like, no. So I honestly, when it comes to dating, I'm probably not the best person to talk to, because I just am not, I don't like people to do things for me. I think, even Brian could probably list on his hand the number of times I've asked him for anything. Usually what I ask him for is things like how he brought me the charger for the computer, or I may ask him to spend time with me, stuff like that. But in terms of like finances or money, I can't think of, maybe, I will say maybe one time I said, what I will do is sometimes I'll have money in different accounts, and I can't transfer the money from account to account because it's at different banks. So I will sometimes be like, Brian, I'm about to transfer you some money on PayPal. Transfer it right back. And when he transfers it right back, I can transfer it to my other account. But other than that, I can't really think of a time where I've like asked him for anything. So it's either been 50-50, or if he pays for something, I get the next time. You know, but that's just how I am, because I'm a weirdo, I guess. Someone else asked the same question about finding your purpose in terms of your career. So I think we touched on that. Someone said being with the man in finances. So we got that. Let me see. Making new friends in your 30s. It can be hard. I was actually thinking the other day, like, I do wish I had more friends. I feel like I need some friends that are in relationships but don't have kids, because a lot of times I live my life very similar to someone who's in a relationship without a child, because I have my kids 50% of the time. So a lot of times when I don't have my kids is when I like yearn for female friendship outside of Brian. Like, Brian, don't get me wrong, I love being around him all the time, but sometimes I would like to talk about girl stuff. And my friends right now all have little kids. So I feel bad at times when I'll call them because they're really, really busy. And that has been a little challenging because, like, right now I can't call my best friend. Like, if I try to call my best friend, she's going to be like, hey, girl, what's going on? And she's doing 500 other things. So it has been kind of challenging for me. And I also think one thing I struggle with is, you know how the Bible says to have friends, show yourself friendly. Sometimes I struggle with that because I will worry that people may not want to be my friend, or I think from that perspective, I do have insecurities from being burned from relationships, especially after starting YouTube, because people put a lot of weight on subscribers and social media stuff. Whereas for me, that stuff doesn't mean anything to me because, I don't know. My view on all of it is a little different. So yeah, I need to work on that myself. So I guess I may not be the best person for making friends, but I think, just like relationships or dating, I guess you got to be open. I need to work on being a little more open, though. I will say that. I think this is the last question. It is. So this last question is, how did Brian and I go about introducing our kids to one another? I feel like my lips look really chapped. You guys ever wear the matte lipstick? I feel like my lips are like the Sahara Desert. What I would do is for some Vaseline right now for these lips. So when I hope my lips don't look pasty. If they do, I need to pass. But let's get into this last question. So how do we go about introducing our kids to one another? I think we just did it. I think we just introduced each other as this is my friend at first. And then the friend transitioned into the friend is around a lot. And, you kind of do it in a soft way. I do agree with Steve Harvey where he says you should introduce your kids to the person that you're interested in earlier than later. I think you have to weigh that out a little bit because you don't want to introduce people too early and then you introduce them to 5 people and you're just your kids are like, dang, Ma, how many people you gonna introduce me to? But at the same time, I think it's important because you don't want to introduce your kids to somebody that you are really, really serious about and then you notice some serious red flags. Could you imagine finding yourself vested in someone and then you introduce your kids to them and boom, red flags, and red flags that are deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? There have been times where I met people and I was thoughtful around how they would be around my kids. And I do think you have to be proactive. You know what I'm saying? So I would say it's better to do it better late than never. Or maybe that's not a good way to say that. I think you should do it early, but not too early. You know what I mean? Do it at the point where you feel like that person's going to be around, where you have a really good feeling about it, but not too soon where you're in the super early excitement stage where you're telling your friends I really like him. I think this is going to turn into something, but you're still excited. You got to get past the excited stage and really feel like this is materializing into something good. And then I think it's important to have a soft meet somewhere neutral, maybe go for fun games, or here we have the jump zone, I think is how you say it. Go to the jump zone. I don't know why I can't say that. Jump zone. And do something like that. Do something fun where it's just we having some fun. This is a friend, and then from there, if you don't have red flags, you feel good about it, or the interactions are great, then you can move forward from there. So, there's a question. How old are the brothers? I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder if Brian, hold on, I'm about to ask Brian. We gonna see, because I do not know. I forgot. Hold up. How old are your brothers? He's downstairs, so if I yell, he's not gonna hear me because he shut the door. Okay. Oh, thank you, People Person. You said I'm like the sister you never met. That's so sweet. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, you said I am a big YouTuber. It doesn't feel like it. You know what's funny? I don't even care about my subscriber count. That does not matter to me at all. I have other things I'm kind of working on right now with YouTube that I'm trying to do. So it's like as I accomplish some of my goals, I like check the box and be like, okay, I did that. But then it's like you do one thing and it might affect this other thing over here. But the subscriber count to me doesn't mean as much because I feel like people can subscribe to you and not be following you for the right reason, or not be engaged with you, or not even like you. So I think that number, in my opinion, it was a thing that I was really about because I wanted that plaque on the wall, but you know, it don't mean as much now. But yes. Oh, you said my channel has always been so positive. Thank you so much, Nicole. I appreciate that. Yes, you guys, if you can hit the like button, that would be awesome. Yeah, we decided a no-go on that baby. What would I change in my life if I was 20 years old? That's a really good question. Well, okay, so in terms of changing things that I know you can't, what's the word I want to use? Hold on one sec, you guys. I want to like multitask on this computer over here while I do the live. But, man, that's a good one. If I was 20-year-old, oh, you know what I would change? The one thing I would change if I was 20 years old and I could go back, I would contribute the maximum amount to my 401k that you're allowed to do. And I would get used to my salary being at that level. That would be the one thing I would change. Yep. And if it wasn't to my 401k, I would at least do that much, like a percentage to my 401k and then a percentage to an account that I don't touch. I feel like my wealth position should be better than it is right now. I also would not acquire, like I would not use credit cards like I have in my life, because I feel like sometimes I have paid down debt, gotten a really good financial position, and then got more debt. And I have this thing that I do with money where I'll be like, oh, I can put it on my American Express because I always think about the money that's coming. And I think that's a bad way to look at money. So I would tell myself, do not do that. Like, stop looking at money from that perspective, because you don't want to put yourself in it. Like, it's better to pay for things with cash. I also, if I could go back to my 20-year-old self, I would tell myself, do not get breast implants. I think that was a move that I made. And when I made that decision, I basically accepted a lot of things in my life, and I made a lot of assumptions about myself in the future that I really feel like was a bad move. And I made excuses to do it because I felt like I wanted them so bad. And I worked at the time I was in pharmaceutical sales, and a lot of the girls there, either the girls or the guys I worked with, their wives had breast implants. So it was like everybody had them. It was such a big thing. It was so easy to get them. And I worked in pharmaceutical sales. I think I was like 21. And like, we bonused really good. Like, you get bonuses where every quarter you'd have another check of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. So you get these checks, and it'd be so easy to spend that money. And I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get this check and I'm gonna do this with this check. And one time I asked one of the girls I work with, she was like she had really, really nice, like her boobs were like perfect. So I was like, can I ask you a question? And she's like, sure. And then, you hit her up with like the don't be offended. And I asked her about her implants and like who did them. And she told me who did them, the doctor's name. And his name was Dr. Bankston. And I made an appointment probably like the next day. And then I went like right away and did it. And when I did that, he told me that I probably was going to have to get them redone at some point. And that's just a part of breast implants. Like, you go in knowing that these are not lifetime devices. They're not like the stuff that I make or my company makes, where people need a hip replacement, a knee replacement. For the most part, they're probably going to have the device for most of their life. But even those devices, I don't even know if those are considered lifetime devices now that I'm talking out loud and like hearing myself. I think even those, there's an assumption that like if you live longer than 20 more years, you may have to have a replacement. But I say that to say, I went in there thinking like, oh, I'll have more money at that point, so it'll be no big deal. If I have to get them replaced, I'll just go back under and do it again. And that was that was just silly to think like that. And now I wish I would have just got a lift, because I was more at the time worried about my breasts from my pregnancy with my first son. I also, like, I had only been like 2 years out from having my baby, so I really hadn't given myself a chance to recuperate, and just like, my boobs were gonna fluff up. You know, you get older, they're gonna change over time. So I didn't even like give myself a chance to like see what I was really gonna look like. So that's one thing I regret, that I would have told myself, like, girl, do not be thinking about that. Because think, like, if you do end up having to get them every 10, 15 years, that's annoying. So, yeah. I may end up talking about what I have pending, but I think I'm going to save that for a video. Do it like a vlog. So, yeah. There's a question that says, what are the biggest differences I see in myself from our previous marriage compared to my marriage now? Ooh, this is actually really good. So the biggest difference I see in myself is back then I was really, really insecure. I think that relationship made me very, very insecure for a lot of different reasons. And my relationship with Brian is not like that. Brian is very, he's confident about me, and he makes me feel confident. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like by the time I met him, I was through a lot of that insecurity that I had before him, but he really makes me feel confident. Like, I actually was editing my thumbnail. I have a video coming up with lounge underwear. So I was editing the thumbnail, and I'm like going through these different pictures I have, and I'm like, which picture should I use for the thumbnail? He picks the one that's like the most provocative. And I was like, I'm not using that picture. And he's like, no, you should use that picture. It's going to get a lot of clicks. And I'm like, no, I'm not using that picture, Brian. Like, you're so silly. But it was just funny because, like, he's like, no, you look really great, and da-da-da-da-da. And, like, he just is really confident about me, and he helps me feel confident. And if I talk, like, in a way that's not confident, he'll correct me. Like, what did you say? You crazy. That's silly. So that does help me feel better. Yeah. Oh, someone said, how does my husband feel when my subscribers come up to me in public? He thinks it's really cool. It's funny when he's had people come up to him at work, and he'll be like he'll call me, he'll like, guess what just happened? So he thinks it's really neat. Like, he's kind of like my biggest fan. You know, he just thinks it's like the coolest thing. Brian was a big part of me starting YouTube. He really encouraged me to start. And he just, like, I don't know, he helped push me out there. He bought me my first camera that I use for YouTube, my Canon T3i. And he just was like really, inspirational. He motivated me to do it, you know, and he always, like, if we're getting ready to go out, he'll be like, you know, if I go to pick an outfit, most guys are going to tell you to pick the one that's the most conservative, but Ryan is like, no, you my wife, I want you to wear that one. You know what I mean? So he's just very, like, he'll make my head feel big. And it's dope. So I think that's the biggest difference between my two relationships. My other relationship, I used to say sorry a lot. That was like a big part of my vocabulary. Every time I said something, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, or oops, sorry, oop. And that was bad. I think now I'm just more confident as a person. So, yeah. Oh, congratulations, Nikki. Yeah. That's really dope. Yeah, he definitely adores me. So I think, you guys, I appreciate those of you who rock with me. You guys know, like, I'm probably a little bit different of a personality. I'm probably one of the few, like, corporate professional girls, who's also pretty comfortable and confident with her body, in terms of, like, just both ends of the spectrum. And I know sometimes y'all be like, Kristen. But at the same time, like, I just really appreciate you guys for being a support system to me. Like, y'all think that you've subscribed to me and my channel, and you guys don't understand how much I get out of communicating with you, and how it's such a great outlet for me. The best part of YouTube to me is talking to you guys. Like, I honestly, when it comes to anything else about YouTube, the best part is talking to you guys. I used to think it'd be the brand stuff, brand deals and all that. I don't think that anymore. Honestly, I'm like, sometimes I'm just like grateful for brand deals. I'm very grateful for them, but it's not the most funnest content to make. Just being totally transparent with you guys. There's some of it that is, and then there's times where I think going into it's going to be fun, and then when I get to doing it, it's not. So I'm trying to find a sweet spot between that, because I do have to pay for this surgery. So if y'all see a couple videos come out, just support me, please, because I got to pay for the surgery. We're coming up here in a couple weeks. But yeah, you know, other than that, like, I think the one part of YouTube I love the most is talking to you guys. It's like the absolute best. It just makes me so happy. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. You said Brian needs some merch. I know, right? Oh, you know, it's so funny. I've had people tell me that like my page has been like a therapy for them. And I have to find a way with my content, because I feel like right now I'm not quite there. I'm not quite where I need to be in terms of like just doing more of that. Because for me, that's therapy for me too. Having these conversations with you guys is like therapy for me too. So it's great. I love it. I can't say it enough. So yeah. Well, you guys, someone actually, I did see the comment earlier that said, what's for dinner? We're going to go out to eat dinner. I think we're going to go to Cheddar's here in a second. So I should probably get off, because I'm sure both Brian and Amana are super hungry. I'm hungry too. And I did want to talk to you guys, and I've just enjoyed this so much. I really appreciate y'all for coming in here and saying hello and supporting me. I did upload a video today. It was my little Christmas haul. I was so excited about that video. So, you know, I am not a decorator. What's the good, a decor girl? But it's so much fun. I'm trying to find my get a good flow with it, I should say. So, yeah. Oh, yes, we are still doing the vision board on it's that Saturday. Hold on. I'm so glad you mentioned that. We need to just let everybody else know, because not everybody may be familiar. So Saturday the 28th at 11 a.m., we are doing a vision board party live here on YouTube. So I will be probably at the very beginning of December. I'll post instructions for everything you need to get, but it's going to be so much fun. I'm excited. Like, I'm going to make it like a party. So I'm going to let you guys know what you need to get. It's going to be the stuff you need for your vision board. It's also going to be the stuff you need to have a party at your house, so you can be like you're with me. And we're going to have so much fun. Instead of doing the vision board and like at an event where you go to a venue, we're going to do it here on live and just have a blast. So I am looking forward to that. I feel like I got something on my tongue. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be dope. You know, we're going into 2020 with our vision board. Look, you know how they say 2020 vision? We need to set our 2020 vision. That should even be the slogan for your vision board. Put that right on the top. I got the vision for 2020. I got 2020 vision. That should be the slogan for 2020. I got 2020 vision. Look, I'm not that creative, but that is cute, right? So we're going into 2020 with our 2020 vision. We got 2020 vision. And you're going to want to get your board. I don't know if I have one over here. Oh, yes, I do. I like these boards where they fold out. You kind of got the trifold. These are my favorite because you can set them on something. Or if you want to put it on the wall, you can. Those are my favorite. But you can also get the boards that are like the whiteboards. And those work too as well. So make sure you guys set your calendars, 11 a.m. Eastern time on December the 28th. And there will be playbacks. If you can't make it live, we will have a playback so you can watch it and do your vision board too. I want all of you guys to make a vision board. I want you all to hit your goals. When I tell you my vision boards, I have done almost every single thing on my vision boards, and stuff that I didn't think was possible, I've done it. So definitely create your vision board. We're going to write the vision, make it plain. We are going to find the pictures that show our lives where we want them to be, and we are going to meditate on it so that we can achieve our best goals and our best life next year. So I think that's a perfect time to go ahead and close the live. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this live chat. I appreciate you. Like I always say at the end of my videos, I appreciate you as always. I love you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.